So I'm taking the same approach as I do with life insurance as I do in FIA. So the same principles, same skills, just slightly different words. Every time I go into FIAs, Grady, okay, I'm doing a two-step approach or a two-appointment sales cycle, if we will, right? So the first appointment is right now, we're talking about final expense, life insurance, whatever. This is step one, okay? This is considered the first appointment. And whether they say, yes, I want to in the first way I ask it, or the second way when I'm giving them the option, what I do from then is, let's say we're circling back. Okay, you want to go with option B, you want to look at safe money retirement and see if this is something that makes sense for you. Okay, great. Now, what I need to do to see if this is the right fit for you is, number one, this is not something you can buy, Bob. This is something you have to get approved for. So I'm taking the same approach as I do with life insurance as I do in FIA. So the same principles, same skills, just slightly different words, okay? So everything you guys have learned, you can apply here and make it very simple. So, hey, I don't know if we can get you approved. You have to qualify for this, okay? Now, this isn't medical qualifications. This is financial qualifications. So the company is going to determine if you're financially suitable for this type of plan. Does that make sense? Yes, it does. Okay. So what I need to do is I need to get a few questions answered. I got to get a few pieces of information. I'm going to meet with my retirement specialist team, and then we're going to set up a time to get back on the phone and figure out if this is something that makes sense and if this is something that you can get approved for. Okay. And so all I'm doing now is I'm fact finding, Grady. So what am I asking? Number one, I'm asking their date of birth. Okay. I need to know their date of birth, not just their age. I want to get their date of birth if you don't have it on the lead form. Okay. So number one is date of birth. Number two is, okay, obviously you need to know how much they have if you haven't already asked that. All right. About how much do you have? You don't need an exact amount. Don't have them grab a statement yet or anything. Just kind of keep it chill, right? Because a lot of times people can get defensive when you're like, go ahead and grab a statement, right? Like you want to keep it very nonchalant, very, hey, I'm on your side. So about how much do you have in there, Grady? Okay, you got 300 grand. Okay, cool. Now let me ask you, do you have any plans to use this money over the next 10, 15, 20 years? Because what am I doing? I'm trying to make sure that I can meet the needs of my client, right? And if I don't ask the question, well, then I can get hit with a surprise later, right? So if I didn't say that and I'm like, hey, let's go ahead and move the 300K, and they're like, well, I plan on renovating my house, buying a car, doing all this stuff, and now I'm left with 50K. Well, that's a whole different conversation. That just screwed everything up. So you got to ask these questions to make sure you're going to create a plan that fits the life that they're going to live. Does that make sense? Okay. So I ask, okay, what are your plans with this money? Are you planning to do anything? Okay. Now, do you want to just protect the money and grow it? Or are you looking for this to generate you income as well? And the reason I'm asking that question, Grady, is because I need to know, how am I going to build this plan? Am I going to build it for growth? Am I going to build it for income? Now, sometimes they say, well, I don't know. Okay, that's okay. Well, then what we do, or what I do, is I look at their current income, Social Security, and all their income streams, and do they have enough to live? If the answer is yes, then I'm going to recommend that they don't get income. If something is happening in their life, someone's going to retire, their income's going to drop, whatever, right? Like you kind of get it, it's situational, and they're going to need income to live the lifestyle, then I'm going to recommend that they go for income. Okay. And all I've done there is I've asked questions to help me and our team do the plan building. That's all we're trying to do, is we're trying to ask smart questions to do plan building. It's almost like underwriting the case, Grady, right? So like when we have to ask the medical questions to figure out which carrier. Here, I'm going to ask the questions to figure out which plan is going to be best for my client. Okay. All right. So let's say we do that. Okay. So we do that. That process is called taking an order. That's what I like to call it. Okay. I'm taking an order. If I'm asking the right questions, I'm positioning myself, I'm educating, I'm taking an order. So that way, and I'm going to do my best on the first appointment when I'm sitting with a client right now to get all the objections off the table. That way, when I come back, more than likely it's a layup and I can do the deal. Okay. Does it always work? No, but most of the time it does. So
asking a lot of questions too shows that you're interested, that you care, that you're thorough. And, and we can give you these list of questions. Also, if you look on Ask a Specialist, there's a list of questions that you have to have answered to submit. That'd be a real good place to start. Maybe just pencil out what those questions are. And I love that you were talking about, essentially suitability. Is the beauty of these products is they put you in a position where you can't hurt the client. Because if you have a bunch of expenses coming up and you need to then get the money, well, there's penalties to pull the money out, right? And you may be getting this. I just got excited. Sorry.
Well, you're good.
It's great to, that's what's so cool about this is it's not like, hey, we're just going to throw you in this $500 a month term. And 3 months later, you're like, I can't afford $500 a month. You cancel. They lost money, charge back to the agent. Client's not protected anymore. Let's make sure the insurance companies does their due diligence to make sure that this is the best optimal financially suitable product for each client. So,
so two things
$300,000, but they can only put in 120 because they need the 180 for something else, or it's too much. Right. So
you got it.
Your turn again. Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. Now there's two things I didn't want to forget that I want to talk about. Number one, I never use the word annuity in the beginning.
Okay.
Because a lot of people have a stigma with the word annuity. A lot of people have a negative connotation for whatever reason. Someone gave them some information and they have a negative connotation with the word annuity. So I'm typically using safe money retirement. Okay. That's number one. The other thing is, okay, a lot of people have advisors. Okay. And a lot of times people are like, well, I have a guy. I'm working with a guy. Obviously they're in, a lot of the people have money at Fidelity, Schwab, Merrill, whatever, and they've been working with the guy 10, 15 plus years. And one of the annuities that I did this last month, the guy's like, yeah, I've been with this guy for, I can't remember, he said like 15, 20 years. And I said, okay. I said, that's great. I'm glad you guys have a great relationship. I'm sure he's probably done really well for you while the market was on an upswing. But what does he do? What has he done to protect you now that the market is volatile? And I wait. And guess what they do? They don't do crap, excuse my language, right? Because they don't call them. And so I'm like, okay, so with all due respect, if he's not doing anything to protect your money, then that's where I come into play. And I'll say something like, the great thing about a 401k, it's a great accumulation product, but it's not a retirement product. So what we're going to look at is a plan that's going to help you retire properly so you don't outlive your money. Does that make sense, Bob? And what that does is that puts a wedge between me and the advisor, because at the end of the day, I want them to know that I'm just as credible, I'm just as professional, and I'm just as knowledgeable, but in this field to help them protect their retirement. Because, hey, guess what? Your guy, if he hasn't called you, if he hasn't moved your money, he's not doing anything for you right now, and you're still losing money. Okay. So that's how you take the order. You get the information. Now you're going to take that information. You're going to throw it into Ask a Specialist. Okay. If you've run annuities, you know how to do illustrations on your own. That's great. But in the beginning, I didn't know anything about it. I threw it into Ask a Specialist. And here's a recommendation that I'd have for all of you is your first 5 to 10 illustrations. You get on the phone with either your manager, if they know what they're talking about, or you get on the phone with the Ask a Specialist team and you ask questions that the client might ask. So when that comes up, you're knowledgeable to answer it. So that way you're not coming to the table with, well, here's just an illustration and they have a list of questions and you don't know what to do, right? You have to come from a place of, I'm an advocate for Bob, and I want to make sure if this is my dad, this is my mom, I can protect them, and I know everything that I need to know to the best of my ability to have confidence that I'm putting their money in a safe place. Okay. So you do that, you ask a specialist now, and then they're going to come back with an illustration. Now, here's what I do. After my first appointment, I'm going to send my clients an email. Okay. Grady, can I share with everyone what I share with the clients?
Let's ask the audience. Audience, do you want to see, drop a 1 in the comments below if you want to see what Julius shares with his clients to help move clients forward?
I think that's a yes.
There we go. Chuck laying it down. Theo Cooper with the 1 slam. Good job. Okay.
Love it.
Yes.
Love it. All right. So here's what I'm doing. So I send them an email, and all I'm doing is I'm opening up my clients without telling them companies, right? I haven't built a plan yet. Now we have a few preferred carriers that we use, right? But I'm not trying to put anything in front of them that's carrier based. I want to put something in there that's generic, that's educational, and has their minds moving. So I send them two documents. And if you guys have heard of this, it's the trifold from the AMS team. Let me share this with you. Hang on one sec. So this is the first one. And Grady, I'll send this over to you guys so you guys can share this with the team and put that up. I don't explain this on the call. The only thing I tell my client is, hey, Bob, Mary, I'm going to send you a document that goes over the benefits of our Safe Money retirement program. It talks about how your money's guaranteed. It talks about, hey, if we move your money from your 401k into Safe Money retirement program, your money's tax deferred, which just means there's no tax consequence. You're not taxed on moving your money. And that's important, guys, because you don't want to be taxed on this. The only time you're taxed is when you pull money out of your plan. You're not pulling money out of your plan here, right? We're just moving it into another environment where how we're going to eliminate fees, how we're going to help you avoid probate, how if you wanted lifetime income, right? Like I give them a quick summary of the points that it's going to include. Okay. So I just send this to them. And then the other document I share with them, Grady, is this one. All right. So it's this one. And this is just a document that helps people understand their retirement. And so there's a bunch of value in here around how does Social Security work, taxes, et cetera, just getting them thinking about income. And then it also talks about RMDs in here, which I kind of hit on for you guys. Okay. So all I do there, Grady, is I literally send them an email. Hey, here's when our meeting is. Here's some information to look over. I'm going to share everything with you on our next appointment. Okay. I'm going to build, and I tell them, so, hey, Bob, on the next appointment, what I'm going to do is I'm going to work with my retirement specialist team. We're going to get this all planned out, and it's going to be a personalized plan specific for you. And we're going to find that way I don't have to give multiple options. I'm giving one option. This is specific for you, customized, tailored for you. I'll go through all the benefits. We'll lay out all the numbers. And then assuming this makes sense, like it does for most people, dropping a seed, right? Assuming it makes sense like it does for most people, right? Not if, right? Then from there, the only thing I do, I don't have any power in this, Bob, is I can help you submit a request to see if we can actually get you approved for this. And then if you're approved, then and only then will the money transfer hands, and I'll help you through it. It doesn't take a lot of work on your hands. I'm going to do all the heavy lifting. Does that make sense? And so before I get back on call 2, I want to make sure I address any questions, any concerns, or any objections, right? I'm trying to get everything out on the table. Well, I don't know if I want to do this. I don't even know if you can be approved. Well, I got to talk to my guy. Well, your guy hasn't protected your money. Why do you need to talk to him about it? Is this your money or is this his money? Do you need his permission? Great. I say these things, right? Like in a nicer way, right? But like,
no, but direct.
Very direct, 100%, because I have nothing to lose.
Right.
right? But I want the shock value of like, dude, I'm here to help you, right? And so that's where I come from.